Just finished a yoga session on my deck here. I love this teak deck here. Just pour myself some coffee. Delicious with my organic honey that I got in Chiang Mai. And I'm just kind of sitting here looking at the ocean. I got the ocean view with a little subtle breeze that cools me off a little bit from a sweating. And I just want to talk a little bit about what I'm thinking about, just reflections of that I'm able to slow down here and really just take in this view of this beautiful body of water with these islands out. It almost reminds me of like being in Hawaii, like, maybe 50 years ago, 40 years ago. I mean, I was in Hawaii 30 years ago and it wasn't like this. Maybe some parts of it were on the backside that I never saw. So it's nice to be in a local village area. It's nice to just have, a few motorbikes going by and be able to sit high up like this where I'm able to see the ocean and just do my workout and think in peace. There's nobody here. There's a couple rooms here to this house, but since it's beginning to be low season, it's not really something that it's really crowded here. On the other side of the island, on the sunset side, this is the sunrise side. This is the old town. It's still fairly busy. It's still summertime. I'm sweating here from that workout. Did a hardcore core workout and yoga workout today. But yeah, I'm just thinking about like my next adventure, these 90 days, the last 3 months. I got about one more week here in Thailand till my visa is up. I wish I was able to extend it, but I'm really not. I extended it already and I have 90 days, and 90 days is over on the 5th of April, and it's the 28th. So to my last week, I'm going to be checking out of this place, which I'm kind of sad about. I would like to stay here 1 or 2 more nights, but this was a treat for myself because I've been staying in hostels and I've been staying cheaper because I'm traveling long term. And when you're building a company, you got to stay disciplined. You can burn through all your savings, but until you start earning money online, I am a digital nomad, but right now I'm in the building phase, the building of the company, the building of my books. I have 2 manuscripts that I just finished. I have 1 book that's in production, all in the personal growth field, really trying to be of assistance and help to those that are in need and struggling right now, especially in the chaos of the world that's going on. I flip on Facebook for a second and, after a couple minutes, I got to shut it off because it's just, talking about the war, talking about what somebody did, what somebody didn't do, the mistake, and just the pressures of people. And it's all fear-based news. And it's stuff that I'm not really dealing with on this side of the world and this side of the island. I did see the global crisis affect, people get really freaked out. A couple of days there wasn't gas at the pumps. But over here on this side, it seemed like nothing was wrong. I went to a gas station. Yeah, they didn't have 91, but they had 95, and that's fine for my bike. It's a little bit more expensive, but I filled it up and everything is good. But so there's a lizard trying to get my stuff, but let him lick it. It's fine. A little gecko in my milk tray. But that's mostly what I'm worried about here. The little geckos. Let me get it real fast. I knew that little sucker was trying to get. I spilt a little milk in my coffee dish. And so anyways, I'm just thinking about that, a lot of people don't get the opportunity or they don't take the chance on themselves like I did. I took a risk. This is my 5th really world trip that I've gone to in the last 10 years. I've given up a lot for that. I've given up items that I thought I would never sell, items that I wanted to give to my children. These things that you grow up thinking that you need to save this stuff, and, things that took you a long time to buy, like couches, cars, things that really in the end don't matter. And here I got my motorbike, I got a place to stay, I got coffee, I got a view, I got food, whether it's from here, the local market, 7-Eleven. I'm not really concerned or on a survival mode or fight or flight mode. I am able to rest. I'm able to digest. I'm able to stay in that parasympathetic nervous system. As my trip is coming up, I'm going to Indonesia, and that'll be an adventure for me because I haven't been there in about, really, I haven't been there since 2020, 2019. I was there twice during that time before COVID. So post-COVID, I don't know. I was talking to a girlfriend of mine who lives there on Gili Air, actually, and she was saying that that it's changed a lot, and it's just a little tiny island, Gili Air. So I bet Bali has changed. I'm sure of it. I'm sure it's more crowded. Thailand is definitely more crowded. There's a different crowd here than there used to be. A different kind of European too, especially here in Koh Lanta. I guess there was a show in France that was named Survivor, the show Survivor, and but they named it Koh Lanta even though it wasn't filmed here. And so a lot of French people are here, a lot of Russians, a lot of Ukrainians, a lot of people from Israel and Jerusalem. A lot of people fleeing the war are trying to come to a place where it's cheaper, and they're doing the same thing. Everyone's stretching their dollar. Everyone's trying to survive the world, and I'm not running or escaping anything. I'm out here creating. I'm out here. I'm filming. I'm disciplined. I'm doing my yoga. I'm teaching when I can. I'm teaching online. I'm creating classes. I'm creating content for YouTube. Of course, you'll see this here. This kind of talk is not scripted or anything. I'm just Krishna, the modern monk, just being here off the cuff, drinking my coffee, sitting on my veranda here, and just talking about real talk, about slowing down, taking the time for yourself. I talk a lot about processing life and that we don't give ourselves enough time to process life in my yoga classes when I teach my long yin classes. But the thing is, to those people in the West, that 1 hour class or hour and a half class, however long it is, or maybe it's just a 10 minutes in Shavasana, that they're lying there, that I'm talking about processing life and slowing down. That's why I don't rush through poses. I take my time. That's why my classes are built, because they're easy to get into. And then once you're into it, it's about relaxing the state of mind, getting out of that fight or flight mode, getting out of that sympathetic nervous system and getting into the parasympathetic nervous system, telling your body, relaying to your body that you are safe, that you're okay. And that allows you to process things, to rest and digest. And for those people, it might just be that 10 minutes or that hour class that they get away, because then they go back to their life, back to their kids, back to their family, back to their husband, wife, job, whatever is stressing them out, back to, dealing with bills. So that little hour is a reprieve of life. It's hot out here. I'm sweating. But when you get away like I am now, I've been traveling for 3 months, spent a couple months in Chiang Mai, had my apartment up there. Now I'm spending a month down in the islands, down here in Koh Lanta. I came here specifically because a couple other places were inundated with a different kind of tourist, and prices have gone up, and I'm not into competing for a beach where I used to live, and I used to pay, let's say 15,000 baht. So that's roughly, $400, $450 or something like that. And now those places are 50,000, 45,000, 55,000. That's over, $1,000, $1,200 a month. So things have gotten more expensive here, when you're renting long term, and that might be cheap to those people who are renting those places. But, I see it's like the same place. It's, some of these people are trying to gentrify stuff and coming over here and retrograding and trying to refigure stuff out, but it's taking away from people like myself who are, on a budget. And it's not like I don't spend. I'm spending with locals. I'm here. But anyways, getting back to processing life and slowing down, being back on the islands, being back in the island life, the island pace, forgetting what day it is, forgetting what time it is. It really gives you that reprieve to think about stuff, because then old things start coming up in your life, old thoughts. I've been really processing lately past relationships, my 2 past relationships. One was a long-term relationship. One was a heavy relationship that just as heavy as it was upwards, parabolic, it also parabolically went down. That might not be the right term, but it shot up like a rocket and also blew up, and to no fault of my own necessarily, and I've been profusely apologized to, and somebody was escaping a life that they were trying to get out of and maybe couldn't process and deal with and were avoiding, instead of giving yourself time like I'm doing now. So I'm pretty proud of myself that I've given myself the time to really process things. I've been looking at old stuff, and not to like resurge anything, but I've been actually looking at old conversations with a new light, with a new perspective. Now that I'm able to slow down, digest, I'm in a good place. I'm very grounded. I'm usually walking around barefoot. I'm in the sand. I'm swimming every day. Picking up those negative ions on earth, swimming in the salt water. So I'm feeling good. I'm from a really good place. And coming from that place, when you have the time to process your life, you realize that your perspective has changed. You've grown. I've grown. Even from 90 days ago, I've grown. And I'm proud of myself. And I see that growth and achievement of growth, because now I can look back at some of those conversations instead of longing or asking those questions like, what was she thinking, or what if? Or I see that some of the conversations, maybe weren't as pleasant as I thought they were. Because in hindsight, you remember sometimes the good things in life, and you remember, people a lot better. You soften the edges, and going back to looking at stuff, looking at pictures, and then realizing the conversations you have now that you have all this new knowledge about the relationship, you can kind of put things in perspective and realize that, you made it out to be this great thing maybe, and maybe some of it was, and don't take away from your own experience, and I could say that, hey, I gave love a chance. I gave love, I was open to it. I was accepting. I was in a good place when I fell in love. But you can't control other people and where they're at in life. And some people can't meet you at the reality or the vibration or the frequency that you're at. They fall in love with you because you're that safety net for them, because you're in a good place in life and you're confident and you love life, and life is good. And that happened in both of those relationships, including my long-term one. That one, I was leading probably the relationship mostly. I was the one who was adventurous. I'm the one who took us everywhere, to no fault of her own. That's just, she was more of a homebody. This other person who I recently just ended with, the last, I guess it's been a year and a half now, so I've had time to process, but it was painful because of the way that she left, the way that she lied, and the way that I had to deal with that, and the questions that it left me in a deficit to figure stuff out. And there was so many lies that unraveled, and through all the apologies, I finally kind of got the truth, never really got the whole truth. But it leaves your mind in that state, like I said, of deficit, that lack, where you're always trying to figure it out, and your mind naturally wants to figure things out. Your mind, and that's the way I guess I work too. I'm not this kind of person that avoids things. I like to hit it, head on. I like to go through the fire. I like to work it out. I like to talk it out. And when you're a person like myself and you're left without those answers, you want to fill in the blanks. But the problem is, filling in the blanks gives you a lot of other things to think about that maybe aren't real, that maybe wasn't even happening. And so the best thing to do is just to honor the fact, and that's what I'm getting to, is I've had this time and I realized I'm just honoring the fact that I did the work. I processed the relationship. I've done a lot of letting go. Some days are harder than others. Some days things come up and I feel sad and lonely. Some days I realize that I'm never alone because I have God, the universe, source, always with me. I feel good about myself. Usually those days are when I'm swimming in the ocean or I'm soaking up the sunshine. I'm having a good time. Music's playing. Life is good. And you realize that everything's going to be okay. And it's only in those contemplative moments when maybe you're sitting in the room or you're staring at, like how I am on the islands. There's a lot of couples here right now. And when you're by yourself, you're often solo traveling. You're going to spend a lot of time by yourself, which is a good thing. I think a lot of people should solo travel. I think a lot of people should get out and travel on their own and really put themselves through the fire, because you might not always like what you see, even about yourself. But eventually you'll get to a point where you'll realize that you're okay. And that all these things in your head, you're the one thinking about them and you're the one having to deal with them. And if you're actually processing them, then you're able to go through that fire. You're able to renew yourself. And it's not that you're changing who you are, but you're going through it like the phoenix, the story of the phoenix rising from the ashes. And that's how I feel about myself when I give myself time to process things. I have risen through the ashes. Now I'm not version 2.0, I'm maybe version Krishna 3.0 or 4 or 5 or 100.0, no matter how many times you got to recreate yourself. And I've definitely, because I've taken a chance on life many times, I've taken a risk, I've gone broke, I've gone after life, I've traveled to the ends till I had no dollars left. I had crazy experiences. I've traveled globally around the world many times. I've seen things that I thought I would never see, and I'm super proud of myself for taking myself there and taking myself here right now. This trip is different because I have a real purpose. I'm not just traveling, I'm living out here, and I've been living in Thailand now for 3 months. I'm living on the island right now, and I'm working. Every single day I'm filming, editing, scheduling. I have videos scheduled all through April, all through May, well, mostly through May right now. I'm doing the work and I'm putting stuff out there, and hopefully this helps you. I know I'm rambling a little bit, but that's okay. That's what this video is about. This video is not structured. It's not a yoga class. It's just me sitting here thinking out loud and giving yourself time, going back to that, processing life, really digesting things. It just completely changes the perspective about things. And instead of me thinking so much about the past or what ifs or why she thought that or why she left or whatever the deal is, I'm now just thinking about this future Chris, this manifestation that I did, and thinking about where I'm going next and how I could bring another great video out to you and what lessons I'm learning from this. I'm always trying to take whatever I'm thinking about and trying to figure out what lessons can I derive from this that can maybe help one other soul that's going through something similar. Maybe someone left them. Maybe they're in a relationship where, they're being abused, or someone's narcissistic tendencies, because that seems to be a big theme lately with people. I see a lot of, avoidance out there. A relationship attachment style that I see a lot online. Seems like a lot of people are avoiding life right now and really being selfish. And it's a world where we're connected more digitally than ever, but we seem to be internally just living in this internal world where we're not connecting anymore. And I see it more even with the younger folks that are here, or younger people that are around the island, and some of them have a really hard time connecting, putting their phone down and just having a normal conversation. So you need to give yourself time. You need to go in the woods, ground yourself, earth yourself, as I like to say. The earth has this electromagnetic field around it, and it vibrates up to the stratosphere and back, and those waves vibrate, and that grounds us. And we have that grounding because we are also from Earth. We are not separate or different from the trees or the animals. We just think we are because we have this big cranium with this large brain that we've activated, and we think that we are above and separate, but we are not. There is intelligence in everything in life, and there's intuitive intelligence with animals. They know exactly what berries to eat. They know what's poisonous. They don't have to be taught like we do, where we are programmed to be good workers and to, get involved in the Western thinking about life, family, school, jobs, getting as much things as you can. And that's not really what we need. And when you get out in the world and you see that everyone's kind of worried about the same thing, family, love, eating, surviving, the basics, you realize that you don't really need much to be a human being and to be happy. And actually, when I have less, I've been more happy than when I have more things, because more things just means that you need to accumulate more things to keep those things, whether it's work more hours, get a better job, get a better degree, get a better wife, get a better husband, whatever it is. Sorry, excuse me. I see that all the time. There's always this chasing going on in the Western world. And here in the East, it's not really about that. And, my theme in 2026 has always been that I'm not chasing this year. I'm attracting. And to attract, you need to be the vibration yourself. You need to own the vibration of whatever it is that you want. And that means you need to get out and do what you dream. You need to get out and be what you dream. Don't just do what you dream. Don't be a human doing. Like I teach in class, we're always this human doing, do this, these to-do lists. But we're called a human being, which in order to be, it means you need to be in the present moment. You need to be in the present moment. You need to give that gift to yourself, being present. And being in the present moment means vibrating at the frequency that you want. And if you're thinking about depression, if you're thinking about fear, if you're thinking about lack, that you need more money, you need this, you need that, you need a better car, you need a better status, whatever, you need a better job title, then you're going to be in a world of hurt, and you're going to be in trouble, because it's never going to end. Those things never end. But when you slow down and you give yourself time to process life, and you realize that you simplify your life, and being a human being means that you experience life, and experiencing things means that you're feeling in the present moment. And if you're feeling what it is that you dream about or what it is that you want in life, then that's how you manifest. That's the time when you truly are locked into that manifestation. And when you can stay there consistently, and I'll tell you the key in order to do that is something that people don't like, this word. It's the big D word. It's called discipline. And it doesn't mean that you got to be like this militant kind of person. It just means you got to be consistent with yourself. We're also human beings, We're sorry, I'm sweating a little bit here. We're human beings, and there has to be some kind of balance. And talking with these monks, I've been chatting with monks a lot, other monks that live at monasteries. I'm a modern monk. I'm still in the modern world, but I'm still disciplined as a monk. I'm living very basic. And I'm out in the world, and I'm teaching these ancient teachings of the yogis, of the rishis, the Vedic teachings, the Buddhist teachings. And it's all about non-attachment. And that means that when you don't need anything, you can't lose anything in life. And it doesn't mean that you can't have things. You can have things. You can have cars, jobs, whatever. There's Buddhists, there's monks out there that own things. Let's be real. But the truth is that most of these monks talk about balance. It's okay to have a drink every once in a while. It's okay to eat bad food every once in a while. It's okay to give yourself a break. But it's a balance. It's a shift. Last night I had some local food, had some fried food because it was like a night market, and I knew it. But it was okay. I was also supporting the locals, and then I got some rest. I was going to get up for sunrise because I have this beautiful, gorgeous sunrise. Today I decided I'm going to sleep in because I felt good. My alarm went off at 6 a.m. Sunrise is at 6:23 here. And I just shut it off, went back to sleep. I felt great when I woke up at 8:30. Got up, realized that I had eaten some food last night that was a little heavy. So first thing I did was did some bed stretching, did some little core work in bed, just lying there, did some hollow body holds. And then I opened the window, saw this beautiful view of the ocean from my beautiful balcony that's all made of this old teak wood. I love the grounding and feeling this teak wood is just, this is real. This is not fake. And I love it. I love these old teak houses. They have an energy to them. Wood has an energy. It carries an energy. And being out here with my yoga mat, with this view, in the heat, I started doing some core work. I started doing yoga. And this is what I'm talking about, discipline, is I didn't go right away and eat. I didn't go right away and get coffee. The first thing I did was balance out my evening. First, I got rest, and then I breathed in my nostril. I realized my right nostril was open, so that means activity. If your left nostril's open, that means you probably need rest. There's a little trick to that, which you can look for my videos. I teach about that. And if you need any questions, you can always DM me about that. I'll be happy to do a one-on-one coaching with you. And so anyways, I got up this morning and I started doing some core work. I started doing yoga. I did sun salutations. I did about 5 rounds of sun salutations. I did some hollow body holds, and I started just dripping and sweating and sweating and sweating. And I felt so good. And then I sat in meditation. I did some pranayama. I did some Anulom Vilom, which is alternating nostril, creating both hemispheres balance. And that's all I mean about discipline. And then I drink my coffee. I put my coconut oil in there. I put my honey, my turmeric. And that's the discipline right there. It's just the little things. It doesn't have to be major jumps or major things. It just, these small little disciplines get you that balance in life. And when you're able to process life, then again, I was sitting here drinking my coffee and I felt good. I felt grounded. And I was sitting here and I was kind of thinking about some stuff, some old relationship stuff came up. And right away, I had the tools to process that. And that was amazing. It was truly amazing to realize that the work I'm doing works. My yoga classes work. They transform people. I see it all the time. When girls come up to me and they're crying because they're finally able to release, because they're feeling self-love, they're able to self-regulate themselves. When my clients are able to regulate themselves and they're crying to me, and it's not crying in sadness, it's crying because they finally had a breakthrough. And that's what I'm telling you. They finally allowed themselves and gave themselves that permission slip to let go. And that's tough sometimes for us. And it's tough when you're always in the go, go, go in that yang mode and you're not in the yin mode, the relax. You're not in the rest. You're not in the processing. You're not in the digesting. And it's super important for us to process life and give ourselves the time. And trust me, an hour is not enough time. You need days. You need weeks. Usually about 7 days is when I really start getting into the mode when I'm on the islands. And I realize that I don't even know what day it is. And it's in that synapsis that I realize I'm in it. I'm in a good mode. I have this equilibrium, about life. And that's where the real work begins. And that's tough in the modern day. It's tough in the modern day. And I challenge all of you to take a leap of faith, because belief is not enough. Motivation is not enough. Motivation fades. Motivation's cool for a little bit. You can motivate yourself for a few days and then maybe a week. Maybe you can motivate yourself for a couple weeks. But it's going to be one day where you're feeling tired, you're sore, and you're just not feeling motivated. That's where your discipline comes in. That's where that discipline comes in, those habits. And even when you're tired, you go through it and you might not feel like you're doing a lot of work, but just by showing up for yourself, that is self-love. That's my theory that I go by on this Krishna the Modern Monk, is that discipline equals self-love. And I teach that all the time. It's part of my book that's coming out, Live Awake. Discipline equals self-love. And I just hope that this message is not too all over the place and that you're understanding what I mean is that give yourself time to process life. Stay disciplined because you love yourself. Do the work and be good for yourself. Don't talk negative about yourself. Don't put yourself down. The world already will beat us up if we allow it to. Be good to yourself. You know, every morning I wake up and first thing I say is nobody's better than you. And not that I'm better than anyone, just that I'm talking to myself that, hey, and I look myself in the mirror and I say, you are the best. You are the best. No one is better than you. God's source lives within you. The source of God lives within you. And I believe that the source of all this, that we were created to be so special to come out as a human being. And when you feel that way and you feel this divine or this divinity within you, that this beautiful energy, and you have this, trillions of cells that make up who you are physically, it's amazing who we are. And a smile comes over my face and I feel gratitude for that. And I just feel love. And I'm embodying love. And that's what I mean about being a human being. Coming back to that is I am experiencing the emotion of love, gratitude. And if you wake up every day and you have the discipline to do that, whether life is tough, your kids are screaming, whether you got to go to a job that you don't necessarily like, remember, sorry, a big truck came by. Remember that you are the creator of your own experience. And that is tough to digest sometimes, because sometimes we don't feel in control of our life. But you are the creator of your own experience. You are the creator of your own experience. Think about that for a second. Take a deep breath in through your nose. I am the creator of my own experience. Think about what that means. And go about your day and embody what it is that you want to be. I hope this message helped you. I know it's a little bit long, but I just want to send love and light to you always. I want to send clarity out to you. And if you need help, or you need some direction, you need some help in discipline, you need anything, my one-on-one coaching along with my books are available to you. Reach out, schedule a call with me. Let's get together. Let's figure it out. I would love to talk to you and be that person for you. And, we can talk for 20 minutes or 30 minutes or so and do a little introduction call and see if we're a good fit. It doesn't always have to be, I'm here to help people. And that's the biggest thing. So I just want to say thank you if you're still watching. I appreciate it. And please subscribe. These videos are here to help you. Watch them over and over. Save these videos when you need help, when you're looking for a plan, and when you're looking for just a general guide and direction. That's what Krishna the Modern Monk was created for, to be that guide. Because that's what I am in the world. You don't see it all the time because I'm helping people in real time. I'm not always putting it out here on YouTube. But I'm here to help. And I just want to say that I wish you blessings in your life. Seriously, from my heart to yours, I wish you blessings. And namaste. Have a wonderful day.